So Krishna is, as we were saying, that Bhagavatam is the greatest text, It tells you everything you need to know about becoming realized, self-realized. So Krishna, we should remember that in Bhagavatam, like there's so many great stories of the great sages, the great devotees who ever existed, we have story of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was such a great devotee. In the womb of his mother, Uttara, he was tried to killed by Ashwatthama with a Brahmastra. But Lord Vishnu, because he's such a great devotee of the Lord Vishnu gave him protection because he comes from the greatest family hierarchy, His father, Abhimanyu, this father, then his father, then his father, all are devotees of Krishna, So Krishna, when there is so many devotees, Krishna gives protection to devotees. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. Krishna comes to give protection. Lord Vishnu appeared in the womb to help him, protect him from the Brahmastra. So this is something very nice, and we should remember that. That Parikshit Maharaj, such a great devotee, he is done. And he was cursed by a Brahmin boy to only live for 7 days, 7 days. But he was smart, because he's a devotee of the Lord, he's a devotee of Krishna. He knows I only got 7 days. He knows the highest truth. He knows Krishna is the absolute truth. So I should just hear about Krishna Katha in my last 7 days of activities, and nothing else I should do. So he gave up everything else, he gave up every other engagement. What to speak of his kingdom activities? He was not even eating or drinking. He was only listening with very much attention to Krishna Katha, So this is the sign of a great devotee. And this is the sign of what we should be doing, Because we don't know when the death will come, Maharaj Parikshit knew there was 7 days. We don't even know there is 2 hours, Does anyone know how many hours they have to live, or how many days, or how many years? No one knows that. I don't even know that. So nobody knows. So we should use every single second trying to become more Krishna conscious, because our life can take off anytime, We can anytime have to change a new body. And we all know that the body, when we take a material body, there will be a lot of sufferings, If we get a little sick sometimes, we suffer a lot, What to speak about death when death comes, You're about to leave a body, that becomes more suffering. It's like you can't even imagine so much suffering we'll get. So we should remember, and we should not be try to become material conscious, because, material consciousness is Durga, Durga that stops us from going, that makes going difficult, So we should not become material consciousness, because there's so many examples, like Prabhupada used to give these nice examples of these famous politicians who at the time of dying, but they were still thinking about money, like how I got so much money, I need to sign a will, I need to do this and that. So it's hard to leave, it's hard to leave. One is not prepared for death, because death will come to everyone, As we were hearing this beautiful, a reporter asked Prabhupada once that, so what is the average life expectancy in your country? Prabhupada says, life expectancy in every country is 100% death. Everyone's going to die. So there is no discussion about that. You can live until 83, I can live until 73, but we all will going to die. So that's life expectancy is, thank you, is definitely 100% death. So death will always come. And we should prepare ourselves in a certain way. Like we are preparing, Preparation is important. We are preparing for people to come to the temple, because we are opening temple today. And there will be a lot of people coming, finally, after a long break, to see Radha Gopinath and get darshan. So we are preparing for the temple with all the regulations and policies there is, Devotees have been working very hard to make it easy and arrange things properly. So devotees can come and take darshan of Shri Radha Gopinath. Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. So this is something very crucial, There's many other examples like Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj became so, it was just it hurt him so much, Imagine you trying to sit on the lap of your father, and your mother tells you that you should not sit on his lap, you're not qualified to sit on his lap, how would a little child, 5-year-old kid, would feel? Feel very embarrassed, feel very hurt, So Dhruva Maharaj, also hurt by these words, decided to take another birth, and become rich and be able to qualify himself to sit on the throne of his father. So he went on tapasya. He said, where I can find the supreme truth, And Narada Muni, with the help of Narada Muni's instruction, he was able to do his spiritual practice, He was able to meditate upon the Supreme Lord, but he did not take it. Narada Muni told him that this is the absolute goal. You should just focus on Krishna and not desire for any material possessions. But what did he say? He said, I have to do this, because he was so struck in his heart, Sometimes when things are in our heart, they can take over. Sometimes the things are in our mind, they can become very disturbed. Mastani sarva bhutani, That's the one verse we were discussing before. So sometimes the mind can be very disturbing and things can become very difficult for us to deal with, Has it ever happened to anyone that sometimes, we think about these things that bother us and then they stay in our head for a really long time? It's hard to get it out, You can't do anything else because you're just meditating upon that little thing that someone said to you or you said to someone or you did not like. So our mind is very disturbing because we live in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the hub of all disturbance, Anything you can imagine that is right in the Vedic time is totally wrong in the Kali Yuga. So we should remember that we are struck in this crazy time. So everything is becoming very difficult. Everything is stopping us to focus on Krishna Katha and hearing about Krishna's pastimes. But we should still have to do it, because this is the absolute truth. And it's possible, Prabhupada has given us an easy way out. He's said, attend the morning program, read your 2-hour reading, do your service properly, and then you'll definitely become Krishna conscious, no doubt. So we should also try and remember. So Dhruva Maharaj being, instructed by Narada Muni, but did not listen. But he still, when he saw the Supreme Lord face to face, after his tapasya, he was able to understand, he was able to understand that what am I meditating upon? This is not the right thing to do. I've been trying to ask and meditate about material opulence, but Krishna is right here in front of me. Then what's the point of asking for material opulence? I should be asking for devotional service. Then Dhruva Maharaj, having that self-realized moment after seeing Krishna, then he decided that I don't want anything. I just want Krishna Prem, love for Krishna. So this is the sign of an exalted soul, a great devotee, a great devotee who knows what he wants when he's realized, So we should also try to become realized. But these all great devotees, they are in a different platform. We are Vaidhi Bhaktas, so we should start from the very bottom and follow the process and principles to get to the higher platform. So this is Dhruva Maharaj, also another great devotee. Then we have so many other great devotees. Bharat Maharaj, King Bharat, what did he do? He gave up everything just so that he can meditate upon Krishna, He saw Krishna and then he gave up everything to focus on Krishna. And he went to the forest, What happened in the forest? He was doing his tapasya, he saw a deer, just a little deer, baby deer, And then he thought, this deer needs my help. I am a Kshatriya. I need to give this deer protection. That's my dharma. That's my duty. So then what happened? He saw the deer, he took care of the deer, and then he got attached to the deer. So the point is that attachment can come anytime, You can be in a forest, you can be in a city. Attachment can come anytime. Because as soon as we get distracted from our main goal, which is understanding and realizing Krishna, problems can happen anytime, Attachment is something that is very difficult to overcome. Some people become attached to an animal, some people are attached to another person. Prabhupada gives examples like how it is difficult in today's time as there are so many attachments, so many material attachments. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if you are materially attached to sense gratification and to material opulence, resolute determination for devotional service will never take place. Because Krishna can only be achieved through devotional service. But if we are already attached to so many different things, like material opulence and sense gratification, what's the verse? Resolute determination will never take place. So we should remember that we should not be attached to the material opulence. We should only focus on devotional service, because the more service we do, the more closer we come to Krishna. So this is very important. And after getting attached to Bharat Maharaj, getting attached to the deer, he had to take birth again as a deer, and then he had to take another birth as Jada Bharat to go back to Godhead finally. So it took a long time. It took 3 births, He could have gone back straight to Krishna in the first birth when he was meditating, but because he got attached, he had to take so many births again. So this is what Prabhupada is saying, that the basic understanding of the soul is very important. Because if you keep taking birth again and again, you're in the same process of birth, death, old age, and disease, We think that there are so many problems in life, right? Do we think that? Or is it just me? Yeah. Many times we think there are so many problems in life, But we don't realize that the big problem is taking birth, death, old age, and disease, Everything else is temporary. Everything else is small. This is something that we make permanent. So we should not do that. We should remember to understand this highest knowledge, this Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, the greatest knowledge there ever is about the knowledge of the soul. Because once we know that, it becomes easy, Once we know that we don't have to take birth again. Why am I taking birth constantly, I can just become Krishna conscious and go back to Krishna. Then I never have to take birth again. I never have to suffer again, I'll be eternally happy and peaceful and just be with my Supreme Lord. So this is something we should know, And then Jada Bharat, after so many austerities, finally was able to go back, because, it takes energy, it takes efforts. That's what we are being taught by Bhagavatam, that bhakti is very easy and very difficult at the same time. Has anyone ever tried that? Felt like that? Yeah. So, because it's easy, all you have to do is chant Hare Krishna. How hard is that? Chanting little syllables, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How hard is that? To chant with attention. But we can't do it, because this is Kali Yuga and too much influence on the mind, So it's very simple, but we make it difficult ourselves. This simple process has become the most difficult process just because of the influence of the mind. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that mind is very difficult to overcome. It's one of the 6 senses. Senses are hard to control. And out of those senses, the 6th one, the mind, is the hardest of all to control, because it's always disturbed. So we should remember that by engaging our senses in Krishna's service, we are becoming Krishna conscious. And we are becoming sense control, We have all these senses, like we have the tongue. We engage that tongue in chanting Hare Krishna and taking prasad. We engage our ears in listening about Krishna Katha. We engage our eyes in looking at the deities, looking Krishna, or reading, and so many things. We engage nose in taking the smell of the flowers offered to Krishna, and all these things are very nice to do. These things will make us Krishna conscious. So we should try to do this more often. And there's many other devotees, like great devotees like Ajamil. Even though Ajamil had to fall down because of association with a woman. So he got too attached to a woman, and then he got too attached to the sun. He was so attached to his son Narayan that he just, at the time of death, he was only thinking about his son Narayan. But Krishna is so kind, Krishna is so dear, that he gave him the benefit of doubt. Because he chanted the name Narayan with so much purity that Krishna said, come back. It's time for you to come back. You've chanted my name with so much purity. Even though he wasn't thinking of Narayan. He was only thinking about his son Narayan. but he was chanting purely the word Narayan. So that's how powerful the name of Krishna is, Even if someone is not in the right consciousness of Krishna, but if he's chanting the name of Krishna with love, at least, at least he's trying to chant the name properly, Krishna appreciates that. And he respects everyone. So we should remember that. And what about Ajamil's story? We know that he went back to Krishna. And so many other great devotees who have existed, who have done. Prahlad Maharaj, the greatest devotee. Prahlad Maharaj is the greatest of all devotees. The reason Prahlad Maharaj is greatest of all devotees is because he was from a demoniac background. His family is Hiranyakashipu is the greatest demon who's ever existed, and he's the son of the greatest demon. And he is the greatest devotee of the Lord. Imagine that, You have the greatest teacher in the world, and you're the worst student. How does that work? That's like totally different things, total opposite, So, because we often think if a teacher is good, the student will also be good. If a father is good, the son will also be good. If a father is bad, the son will also be bad. So we know that, yeah. So, but this is not the case with Prahlad Maharaj. He has a demoniac father with so much material envy, hate, so much material desires, want to be the greatest, want to kill everyone in the way. But Prahlad Maharaj is such a nice devotee, All he wants to do is just hear about Krishna and become Krishna conscious, right? So this is the teachings we are getting, Prahlad Maharaj went through so much suffering, He by his own father. His own father harassed and bullied him so much, we cannot even imagine, we cannot even take, he threw it out of the mountains, he feed him to the crocodiles, but no harm could come to Prahlad Maharaj. Why is that? Because Krishna is giving protection. Krishna always protects his devotees. So Prahlad Maharaj, even though he was put through so much suffering, he was still meditating upon the Lord. He didn't get distracted, He was always focused that Krishna will give me protection, I don't need to worry about it. And then when his father Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad that, where is Krishna? You keep saying Krishna, 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 Where is this Krishna? Show me. Is he in this pillar? Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, of course, he's everywhere. So he broke down the pillar and who came out? Lord Nrsimhadev. Lord Nrsimhadev ki jai. So Lord Nrsimhadev came out from the pillar to give protection to Prahlad, And so many great devotees after the death of Hiranyakashipu was pacifying, Lord Nrsimhadev. But only Prahlad, being such a great devotee, was able to pacify him. So this is something we need to know. Then there is grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Who is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj? Bali Maharaj, Another great devotee. Why is Bali Maharaj also a great devotee of the Lord? Because he was able to see Vamanadev, And he had overcome the whole three worlds, right? He was sitting in Indra's land. He kicked out of Indra from his house, And he took over his house, being a demon, strong demon. Took his house and was ruling his house, his kingdom. And then Lord Vamanadev, in the form of a Brahmana, a beggar, come and begs for the 3 pieces of land, But Bali Maharaj was such a great devotee also that he said, he's a Brahmana. It's my duty as a king to fulfill all desires of the Brahmana, Krishna says that. Taking care of the cows and the Brahmanas is the most important activity. What does Krishna say? Krishna is Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, caretaker of the cows and the Brahmanas. So we should remember that. And after Bali Maharaj gave him, Bali Maharaj had nothing. Because in 2 pieces of land, Lord Vamanadev had covered everything. In 2 pieces of land, he has taken over everything. And still, there is more to come. There's one more step he can take. So Bali Maharaj was so surrendered. It's amazing, how that much surrender can come in a devotee. Shukracharya, his teacher, was telling him that he's trying to manipulate you. Don't listen to him, but he doesn't. He said, it's my duty. It's my duty as a king to take care of Brahmanas. So he gave Lord Vamanadev everything, everything he had. There was nothing else he can give, so surrender. Pali Maharaj. So we should try and get inspired from this much, There are so many great devotees who've existed. And Bhagavatam is the greatest education. Because this tells us all these stories and amazing pastimes of the Lord and Lord's devotees that we can learn from. And even in Chaitanya Leela. Can we finish now? Okay. So we have to finish now because we are opening temple at 8:30. So, thank you for your kind attention. Please make sure you chant your rounds attentively, or try at least to chant your rounds attentively. Try to read some Bhagavad Gita, And I've tried this new thing, I take blessings of Haridas Thakur every time before I start chanting. I pray to Haridas Thakur because he's the Namacharya. No one has the taste of Krishna like Haridas Thakur has. So we should try and remember and pray for mercy of Lord Haridas. If we think we are having disturbance with our chanting, we should take blessings of Haridas Thakur so we'll be able to chant properly with attention. Thank you for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. My name is Mandragosh Dasa. Mandragosh Dasa. Prabhupada ki jai.